Tramps like us, baby, we were born to run. Oh my goodness, look at this AOA podcast. Starting the week off strong. Look at all the topics we have to discuss today. Breaking news, Diddy is still a piece of garbage. Honestly, the worst Diddy lawsuit I've seen up to date, which is pretty amazing because I feel like I've said that 6 times since all these lawsuits have been coming out. One just seems to be just beating the last. This one involving a 13-year-old and 2 other celebrities. So stay tuned for that. That'll be our lead story. Of course, share the episode. This stuff doesn't get out. And I've noticed this. We're starting to see a little white noise. People are getting hyper-focused on the election and not so much on important matters like letting everybody know what was happening with Diddy and what the allegations are and where that's going. Super important. So hit the share button on this episode if you haven't done so already. The Payne Toxicology Report is painful to go through. Lots of drugs in his system. We'll discuss. Speaking of devastation, oh my God, I almost died when I heard that Jenna Fischer almost died from breast cancer. So we'll talk about her cancer diagnosis, the famed actress and now podcaster. Appreciate a fellow podcaster. So we'll talk about the wonderful Jenna Fischer there. Of course, all the Office fans are going to love that little conversation.
That's what she said.
Elon's $1 million surprise and promise. We have to talk about that. The creepy Royal Caribbean employee who was filming passengers. Very creepy. And honey, tramps like us, baby, we were born to run. We got a new Bruce Springsteen doc at a time where we're getting a lot of Bruce Springsteen material. Like there's never been a better time to be a Bruce Springsteen fan, and this one might be the best one yet. So all that and more coming up on this episode. Avenue freeze out. Something happens to you when you get older. You start drinking like more wine. Like at a certain point, you're like, "Oh, beer's not that great, but scotch is wonderful." And I feel like part of that, whether you're a huge Bruce Springsteen fan or not, is you just become an even bigger one. Like, let's say you are a big Bruce Springsteen fan, you will be more of a Bruce Springsteen fan the older you get. It just kind of seems to be one of those things. I mean, that's been my experience. I don't know if you guys feel the same way, but I can't get enough of Bruce these days. He's 75, just turned 75 years old. So happy birthday to him. Because the night belongs to lovers. Oh my God, all the good songs. He's still writing catchy tunes. I can't wait to talk about this documentary of Bruce because it's very exciting, because lots of documentaries are like, oh, okay, you know. This one seems to be that behind the scenes look that we all want to see. You know, I was lucky enough over the course of my career in radio to be backstage, behind the scenes, sound checks at a lot of different shows. And man, you see a lot of cool stuff. I mean, a lot of cool stuff. You can just sit there for hours and be like, "Look, why is he? Look, he's moving the pedal. He's going to do the pedal. Look. You move the pedal a quarter inch. You see, move the pedal a quarter inch. It's just exciting. You're like, how they're creating this magic that we're all going to enjoy later. It's a really fun thing to just sit around and watch. And we'll get a peek under the hood. We'll get a peek under the hood, my friend. Paul's here, flying. Why? Oh my goodness. DJ Shenanigan laying down some truth. Tunnel of Love was my favorite album. Feels like that would have caused a fist fight at one point in the 90s. Maybe later. What was Tunnel of Love? 85? Maybe late 80s, early 90s. I feel like there's maybe a little backlash, but I feel like that album's come back around for people. A lot of hardcore Bruce fans point to that record as one of their favorites. What did I hear? That he tried to give one of his songs away to the Ramones, and the Ramones turned it down. Somebody said that to me today. I didn't know that. I was like, that's a little fun little factoid. So there you go. I don't know. Somebody will figure out what that song was, but Bruce wrote a track, tried to give it to the Ramones. Was it Hungry Heart? I think it might have been Hungry Heart. I think he wrote that for the Ramones, and the Ramones were like, hey, cool track, bro. And then didn't do anything with it. And I think he was like, oh, okay, I guess I'll just put it out. And huge hit. Was Hungry Heart the one that Courtney Cox dances to? I feel like it was. but also I'm 40. I'm in my 40s. I like to tell everybody I'm 40, 39. I can't remember anything anymore. So, Christella says too slow for the Ramones. It's true, but the Ramones did drop some slow covers, later on. Dancing in the Dark was the Courtney Cox. Thank you. Sorry, you're right. That was it. Dancing the fucking swingy thing. I still can't do it. I couldn't do it in the 80s. I can't do it now. No rhythm. Lord blessed me with little to no rhythm whatsoever. Anyway, people with no rhythm look at me and go, Jesus Christ, do you not have rhythm? Anyway, let's jump right into the Diddy lawsuit, because let's get through the disgusting stuff while we can. Tony Busby, as promised, releasing more and more, not releasing, but filing more and more lawsuits. He put three of 7 new lawsuits were filed yesterday in the Southern District Court of New York from Tony Busby, and none of the plaintiffs are named in the suits. One that was particularly jarring and disgusting and inappropriate was the story of this 13-year-old at a VMA after party. The victim, only identified as Jane Doe, so we don't know who this is, claims she was attacked after having one drink that left her feeling woozy in the fall of 2000, in September of 2000, according to these court paper filings. She was 13 years old, trying to get into the VMAs. Look, we've all kind of been there, right? I definitely, I never tried to get into the VMAs, but I definitely tried to get into shows and concerts. I remember one time I stood outside of the Virgin Megastore. Yeah, it was the Virgin Megastore in Times Square, trying to get in to see Weezer. And I went outside and I was calling somebody, and then like Weezer, like it was like an Almost Famous moment where they just get out of the limousine, and I'm like, everybody I'm with is like huge Weezer fans. I like Weezer at the time. I liked Weezer. I like Weezer a lot more. But everybody's like trying to figure out how to get like on the ground level. Because if you've never been to Virgin Megastore, it was like 7 levels or whatever it was. And so we were on like the 7th level, and they were playing down in the basement. So we were trying to figure out how to get down there. So I go outside to make a phone call, and literally they get out of a car and they walk into the place right in front of me. I'm like, hey. And they're like, hey. I was like, and then stupid me, I should have just followed them in, because I don't think anybody would have stopped me. I should have just been like, it's about time, guys. We got to get you inside, and then held the door open and then followed them in. I feel like that would have been the move. Not too smart. Thought of it like 3 weeks later. Would have been great to do. Still got to hear them though, and they were phenomenal. That was a good show in the middle of a record store. Anyway, losing myself in this. But my point is we've all been too young to get into the thing to see the bands that we want to see, and like we've all kind of been in that moment. So it's horrible to hear what happened to this poor young lady. But anyway, what she had done was she had just been like combing the limousines that were pulling up, trying to get in. Right, every time some limo would pop up, she was like, talking to the limousine drivers, trying to get in. And she finally comes across this one limo driver that says, "You are exactly what Diddy is looking for. You're, the driver said to her, quote, "You fit what Diddy is looking for," according to the lawsuit that was filed. He later drove her to a large white house with a gated U-shaped driveway. Excuse me. While in the house, the alleged teen victim said that she had one drink that left her feeling woozy and lightheaded. She noticed that she was at a drug-fueled party. She was looking for a place to rest. She found an empty bedroom so she could lie down for a moment. Soon after, Combs enters with a male and female celebrity. Combs aggressively approached the plaintiff with a crazed look in his eyes, grabbed her, and says, "You are ready to party." The woman alleged that she was pinned down, assaulted by Combs and the male celebrity as the unnamed female star watched. She claims Combs tried to force her to perform oral on her, but she fought him off by hitting him in the neck. She then said she grabbed her clothes and left the bedroom, roaming naked through the house looking for an exit. It was too late, though. Other things had taken place. outside. Once she was outside, she put her clothes on and walked to a nearby gas station where a female clerk noticed her in distress, let her use the phone to call her dad and pick her up. Could you imagine being the father picking up your daughter in that situation? I don't know if I could have not driven to his house and killed him. Like, there's just, I don't know. I say that, but there's no real way of knowing how one would react in a situation. But just hearing that makes me want to think I'd probably drive my car through that fence, up the stairs, and get out with a baseball bat or something and walk into that house and figure. I'm like, I'm gonna come. Either I'm coming out of that house dead, or Sean Combs is. There's no two ways about it. Either they're going to kill me, trying to stop me from killing him, or because I can't imagine. After the assault, the plaintiff says she fell into a deep depression, which continues to affect her every facet of life. The driver, no, I'm sorry. Here's what I wanted to say. This was at a party. This was at a post VMA party that we know Diddy was in attendance with Jennifer Lopez, his girlfriend at the time. Don't know if Jennifer Lopez is the unnamed woman in this, unnamed celebrity woman in this situation. Obviously, we don't know that. The accuser didn't name any of the stars allegedly spotted, but described the party as having widespread drug use, including marijuana and cocaine, which is pretty consistent with a lot of what the other lawsuits are saying. Combs's lawyers commented by referring to their previous comment, which is, hey, everybody's jumping on board our celebrity client now because he's got a lot of money, he's famous, and people are just jumping on board. They're also putting some pressure on the prosecution in his case against the state, because they're saying, hey, we need to know who these plaintiffs are. Like, that's what's pretty interesting about this case, that Diddy's lawyers do not know who is accusing him of these things. As of right now, they're all under Jane Doe's or some, assumed names. Their identities are being protected. And what his lawyers are saying is we got to prepare a defense. We got to know who we're talking about here. So I think they're going to find that out. Like, the prosecution is going to have to turn that information over at some point. They're just not doing it yet. And they do have time still before they have to be finished turning over all the evidence in this case. So I don't know what the tact is there with the prosecution. I mean, I would imagine to a degree they're trying to protect some of these people before they go into this case. I would think that that's why they're holding things back. I mean, when you hear about some of these stories, this guy's allegedly a fucking monster, an absolute monster. So I understand their desire to kind of hold back a bit. Again, his trial starts May 5th, and we'll have full coverage on that and what happens. And I respect the process too. Like, I understand this young lady's lawsuit and where she's going with that. But at a certain point, we have to start naming who these other celebrities are, like this unnamed woman and who the other gentleman was. It's important that those names start to get out there for other people. And again, I believe they will, and I believe we'll see a lot more from all of this. I think we'll see a lot more lawsuits. I think we'll see a lot more criminal charges being brought against people. The more some of these things come to light, the more investigations happen, the more people start to flip and talk about so-and-so and name other names. But as of right now, we don't have that information. Christella says it right there, name names. Yeah, it's time. It's time. You're going to file a lawsuit like this and you're going to have your day in court. Understand if it doesn't come out today, but at some point, if you were in that room and it was Diddy and two other people who are famous, you need to know who those people are. Need to know who those people are. Again, you don't want to ever push a victim into doing anything, but if a victim has made it this far that they can name one of their attackers, it's important that they name the rest of the people that were in that room, because again, you could be saving somebody else's life one day, which is a tough thing for victims of these kinds of acts to come to terms with. Jamie C, welcome back into the mix, or welcome to being a new member. I don't know, sometimes we have old members who renew, but it counts as a new. I don't know how it all works. I feel like, Jamie, I've seen you before. Definitely seen you around the comments. Appreciate all those. So welcome to your membership, either new or renewed. We appreciate that. Of course, as you guys know, we have a wonderful membership area in the AOA family here. We put a lot of exclusive behind the scenes footage. I mean, maybe not as exciting as the Bruce Springsteen stuff, let's be fair. But still, we put some cool stuff up there from time to time, some secret material, opinion pieces. Of course, our members get discounts on our merch. As you could see, I'm actually not wearing our merch. I'm wearing our old pal Balin Dupree. What about? Yeah, no, the creator. Trying to support the other creators too. But you get discounts on merch, all kinds of fun stuff, priority in the comments. It pays to be an AOA member, and you can do it for as low as $2.99. Not a bad deal when it gets down to it. This Liam Payne story, we talked about this, I think, on Friday's episode, where we kind of discussed the early toxicology report and what went on there. And now we have the full toxicology report after his death, and he had multiple substances in his system. Multiple substances when he fell out of the third story balcony of his hotel room in Buenos Aires. That's going back, I can't believe it's been 5 days already. But those substances include pink cocaine, which I just thought was like, I don't know, are they dyeing cocaine pink now? Because I saw sprinkles the other day that were like neon glowing pink. You know, they put it on my daughter's ice cream and she was like through the roof. It was like sparkling and everything. I'm like, shit, this is pretty impressive. So dumb, naive aunt, I was like, is that what they're doing to the cocaine? No, pink cocaine is a mix of several drugs, including cocaine, but also methamphetamine, ketamine, MDMA, which is Molly, right? And some other benzodiazepine and crack. Who came up with pink cocaine? I would have loved to have been in the room when that recipe was being developed. Like, how does that, is it like a, then you wait an hour and you go, I don't know, I think it needs crack. Is that like, did you get to methamphetamine, ketamine, MDMA, cocaine and go, I don't know, it's missing something. Maybe we should just add crack. Maybe we need more crack in this. What else could we add? Well, I don't know. What the fuck is left? I don't know. I guess crack. Let's try some, like I've seen chefs put things together. I've seen like family members trying to remember recipes, like how did grandma used to make this and try and fucking figure it out. I've never seen a drug dealer or chemist. I don't want to be disrespectful. How do we, I don't know. But I would have loved to have been in that room and they're like, maybe we should, maybe feels like it needs 4% crack, maybe 6% crack. Well, let's not get out of hand, Jerry. Like, I don't think here Jerry's fucking, he wants to add crack to it now. And Bob was probably like, oh shit, we should probably add a lot of crack, like 20% crack. Is that how you talk about adding? I don't know. I'm so not into drug making. Do you say percentage? We need to lower the MDMA percentage. 4% more ketamine and maybe 12% more crack would be good. Making a new pink cocaine. Pink cocaine sounds like something you need to be on pink cocaine to come up with. To be like, I know we're going to call this pink cocaine. Is it pink? No, it just got a lot of crack and benzodiazepine. Yeah, CTD's got it. I just smoke weed. That's it. That's a good place to be. Whatever happened to just a gummy or a little hit off a J? Whatever. I think most people should stay there. That's a safe place. I feel like that's the worst thing that can happen to you then is you combine, like, you start to say to yourself, what could I add to this donut? Some ice cream? Maybe some ice cream. Like that's as far as you start to go, do I have room for an Oreo in this ice cream sandwich with the donut right now? That's what happens to you when you're smoking weed. That's how crazy it is. When you start to get into other drugs, you start going, what does this pink cocaine need? More methamphetamine and ketamine? Should we put crack? Let's put some crack in it. You know, is this how the Long Island iced tea was made, where they just put a bunch of shit together? Is that what happened? It was just whatever was left and they put it together and it worked. And drug use fascinates me. It really does. Like these drug pushers, like how are they? I thought we had it all. Like I thought we were done. You know, when like Molly was the last one that I was kind of like, oh, okay, that's a new thing, but it's probably close to whatever. Maybe they just, you know, but they're still out there trying to make some new shit. Yeah, they're determined. I mean, they're making a product that is literally going to kill their customer base. And they're still like, I don't know, how can we be more innovative? You know what I mean? It seems very strange. When you think about it, where you would want more innovation, i.e. the lottery, there is none. They're just like, I don't know, match 3 like amounts. You know, we need a new lottery game for Christmas time. Why don't we put a bunch of candy canes on it and then they can scratch it and then that determines if they win. Oh, how do they win? Match 3 like amounts. It's good. That's good. Good job, Jacobs. Way to go, fella. You're gonna get that corner office before you know it. There has been no, you look at the lottery, you look at a scratch off, there has been zero innovation. Zero. Match 3 like amounts, they have never been able to surpass that, ever. I mean, ever. Maybe that crossword game, I forget what that is. Is that Scrabble or whatever they call that, where they're like, make a word. Okay, that was pretty much out there. But they have stopped trying. How do we get the drug people to stop trying? You know what I mean? Because even the name pink cocaine is such an interesting marketing phrase, you know? It's like, would you like to take methamphetamine, MDMA, ketamine, and crack together? No. That I'm a little worried about that. Would you like some pink cocaine? Oh, I don't know. Maybe. Really? I didn't realize when I woke up this morning it would be a pink cocaine kind of a day, but maybe. Sounds very designer. You know? Ketamine and ecstasy and everything else in between. No wonder he was, yeah, no shit. I don't know if you guys noticed this, but on Friday's episode, I took a Mucinex, a Claritin, and then made the mistake of taking a Excedrin tension headache, and I was flying. I don't know if you noticed, but I laughed at just about everything Frank said, and that guy is funny, but not that funny. Not that funny. I was, things were spinning. I don't know this for sure, but I might have forgotten that I took a Mucinex and took 2 of them. So that I was all kinds of fucked up. I was saying, yeah, what's that? Here's my mix. Get ready for mine, everybody. Gather around. We're going to lose the methamphetamine, the ketamine, the MDMA, the cocaine, the benzopyrene, and the crack. We're going to lose all that. We're going to go with 2 Mucinexes, a Claritin D, not that Claritin over-the-counter stuff. I mean, the shit you got to show your ID for. Claritin D and a couple of Excedrin tension headaches. Not migraine, tension headache I took. No, I don't want to fuck up the recipe. Not that I'm encouraging everybody to do this, but I'm just saying I saw a pink elephant in the house, and I told that son of a bitch, I go, you fucking take your shoes off if you think you're going up to the 2nd floor. You're going to walk on my carpet. And he listened, to be fair. I never saw what happened to him. I think he's hiding under our couch cushion down there, but I got to go look. I got to go take a look. That was all a mistake that night. Anyway, that's what was in poor Liam Payne's toxicology report. His body's going to remain in Argentina until a full autopsy is complete. No word on where he got any of this stuff or what the deal was. Hotel officials called authorities and asked them to send someone with urgency due to a guest they said was drunk with drugs and alcohol. So again, when he was erratic in the lobby, he would have definitely been fucking, doing all sorts of crazy stuff. Okay, I love Liberty Twitcher, but let's not point out the jokes. I mean, clearly, I wasn't hallucinating from the music. That was just the bit. I have to point out the bits. There's no way I would have taken all those things. I mean, I do take Mucinex and Claritin together. That's the truth. But I would never take one of the other things. You're talking about one of the biggest wussies ever. Like, I'm like, I don't know. Can I take Tylenol? Should I do Motrin? I should probably. Sorry, I came in. It's okay, Liberty. You know what? It's a good opportunity to explain to people. Don't do the jokes. Don't do the bits. Because somebody out there was literally probably writing that shit down, and you gave me a good chance to say don't do that. Those were just jokes. Where was I going with this? Anyway, yeah, the erratic behavior in the lobby and everything, that certainly explains all of that. How he got it, why he had it, why he was alone. That's a big struggle for me, Ant doesn't even like doing lemon and honey at the same time. Truth. Those two things really, I don't feel go together. I don't. If I'm doing tea, I'm doing strictly honey, no lemon in the tea. I might do a lemon tea outside of feeling sick, but lemon too much acid on the sickness. No good. No good. You're right. You're very, very right about that. Fucking a drug charcuterie board delivered in sweet. Yeah, that's kind of what it sounds like. They just gave him a whole bunch of drugs. I mean, I'm assuming this pink cocaine comes in some sort of powder form, and that's how he did it. I don't know if he just mashed all these things together and had it all in his system at the same time. I mean, I guess that's possible too. But I mean, the way they're describing this, I'm assuming they're selling pink cocaine, and it just has all these things mixed into it. Ant won't drink chocolate milk because mixing stuff is scary. Yeah. It's a lot of mixing to get that chocolate milk in there. I do love it. Why is the chocolate milk from the store so much better than the chocolate milk you can make with the mix? Has anybody figured that out? What are they putting in that that's so much better? Is it pink? Is it crack? Is it pink cocaine? When you buy an already made chocolate milk from the store, it's a million times better than putting the same like Hershey's syrup and mixing that and making your own chocolate milk. Convince me on what's that guy with the meme where he's sitting at the table? Convince me I'm wrong. I'll die on that hill. I'll die on that hill. Those cows graze on cocoa beans. I knew it was something. I knew they're eating the chocolate flavored grass, are they not? I knew it was something. You laugh at everybody I know who ever went to Hawaii talks about like the chocolate plants. Like they have some plants in Hawaii that just smells like chocolate. Maybe the cows are eating those. Yeah. Those chocolate cows, we got to take care of them because that's a special cow. That is a special cow. Where do you think we went out of control? Where did we start coming up with pink cocaine in milk form? Chocolate was fine. Then we got into strawberry. Okay. I think when we started marketing banana milk heavily, that was the line. Was it not? Was that not the pink cocaine line of breakfast beverages? Is when they tried to start pushing the banana. It felt like they just ran out of shit and they're like, blueberry's not going to work. We already did strawberry. Raspberry milk doesn't make any sense. I don't know. Banana milk? That never worked for me. You want me to throw up? Banana milk is the quickest way to make that happen. Blue raspberry milk. Could you imagine? They're not Gatorade flavors. I mean, those Gatorade people are getting away with things we're not letting the dairy people get away with. Speaking of get away with, oh my God, we're letting the world get away with 21,000 stillbirths a year. People, we got to stop this. It is Stillbirth Awareness Month, and the Star Legacy Foundation is doing some incredible work to try and minimize the impact of stillbirth in our country. I love them so because our own J-Sabs, her first baby was stillborn, and we remember Diana Hope every single day up to and including this day. And every year we raise money for her in her name during the month of October. It was a tough thing that J-Sabs had to go through, and I'll give her this credit. Don't tell her I said this because I don't like her to feel good about herself. I like her feeling bad about herself. She's become an ambassador ever since that day, ever since she lost her firstborn. She's just turned it around and become such a positive influence in this community. She's raised tens of thousands of dollars, probably exceeded $100,000 at this point over the years of what she's been doing it for. I'd have to find out. But we have a link in our description, as we do every single episode in the month of October, because if you can give at least $5 or $10 to the Star Legacy Foundation, that means the world to us. They're a 501c3 nonprofit organization dedicated to reducing pregnancy loss and neonatal death, improving care for those families that experience such tragedies, and setting up communities where families, health professionals, researchers, policymakers, and individuals dedicated to helping have a place to come together and communicate. Like I said, 21,000 annual stillbirths, and believe it or not, a lot of those can be detected, fixed. A lot of doctors who you'd think would be testing for some of these things are not. That was what was so surprising in JSAB's journey that I learned, that she learned, is that, hey, there is some other tests to go for that maybe insurance doesn't cover. A lot of doctors aren't. So, maybe that's not the thing. And something like what she went through could have possibly been prevented if she went that extra mile, if she knew such an extra mile existed, if a doctor had pointed her in the right direction, could have been a whole different thing. So, that's what Star Legacy works on. It's an important thing. Again, a lot of abortion talk out there, right? A lot of women's health and their bodies. But this is something where, we can save some babies here. We can do that. And if you know a couple that has struggled to become pregnant, this is a really big deal for them. So any help you can give would be much appreciated. In this month of October, which is also Breast Cancer Awareness Month, right? Or Cancer Awareness Month, I guess, at this point. Just more than breast cancer. But Jenna Fischer had breast cancer about a year ago. If you're a big Office fan, there's an episode where Kevin has a cancer scare during Michael's party, and Michael says to her jokingly, when was the last time you had an exam? Those things are ticking time bags, pointing to her chest, which is one of the many inappropriate in real life, but kind of endearing things to watch Michael Scott do it on television. And just last year, Jenna Fischer tweeted, ladies, get those ticking time bags looked at, because you never know. And little did we know, she was diagnosed with breast cancer. And she went on the Today Show earlier today and sat down with Hoda, who, gotta love talking to Hoda. Everybody loves opening up to Hoda. I feel like I could tell Hoda some things, my fear of combining lemon and honey, for instance. Anyway, I feel like that would come right out. I'd be like, a big fan, Hoda. By the way, I don't know why I can't put lemon and honey together. It's a real problem. Maybe you can help me with that. Anyway, she revealed that she was diagnosed with stage 1 triple positive breast cancer in December of 2023. Now, I'm not a surgeon, but once you get to triple positive, I think that's really bad. Triple positive is way worse than double positive. Now, you guys let me know in the comments if I'm going too fast with the medical speak. But just to recap, double, bad. Triple, even more badder. Even more badderer. She underwent surgery, chemotherapy, radiation. She is now cancer-free. She's still taking treatments. She still has her port in. That'll continue until February. And what I found interesting is she didn't tell anybody. If you're not familiar with Jenna Fischer, actress, right? Been in a lot of stuff. The Office, obviously. She did a couple of movies, did a bunch of movies. She's always great in a movie. I always enjoy her in a movie. But most of her time these days have been spent as a podcast host. She started a podcast rewatch that a lot of people did during the pandemic called The Office Ladies with what's her name, who played Angela on the show, who turns out that they're like real life friends. They have been friends ever since they were on The Office together. And once they got through the whole kind of rewatch thing, she thought, we can keep this business going and make it a business. And they did. That's exactly what they did. And so it's now a podcast where they talk about The Office and behind the scenes stuff, but they also talk about just everyday life and things like that. But not once did they ever bring it up. And their interview style, right? They'll have a guest and interview them. And what I found so interesting was she lost her hair, right? Going through chemo. and decided she had a whole bunch of like, hats made up with like wigs. So it looked like her regular hair. So every time like you saw a picture of her with the guest, it looked like she was just wearing a hat. And then Angela Kinsley, who played Angela, she started showing up to work wearing hats every day. And Jenna said to her, she goes, she said, Angela says to Jenna, like, what do you need from me? And she goes, I just don't want to be the cancer patient at work. She's like, I just want to go to work. It's fun. Like, let's keep this a fun place and not tell anybody and not talk about it. And let's treat it like that. And I thought that was such a huge thing to do, because it's like, how do you, that's a big thing to contend with and deal with, and to go in there and pretend every day it's not happening could be a little difficult, but also distracting and rewarding for the person going through that. Ain't that right, J Sabs?
Yes. What? All I want to know is why Aussie Annie wrote J Sabs is a bloody legend. I think that's what we should title this episode. Go ahead.
Oh, that is a good title. J Sabs is a bloody legend.
Why'd you say that?
I don't know. I was just talking about, I just did the read for Star Legacy, so maybe that was it.
Oh, maybe that's it.
Yeah.
You weren't making fun of me because I went pumpkin picking, right?
No, I wasn't. I did say though, this would make you happy, and although I do like to see you more miserable than happy, I said something like that. I can't remember. It was 4 seconds ago. I'd have to go back and watch the replay. I like it better when you're miserable. You're a lot more funny on the podcast. When you're angry and fired up and wronged, that's where we want J Sabs. When you're pissed or
angry, fired up, and
wronged. If somebody wronged you.
Wronged. Okay, not wrong.
No, okay. Not wrong. But if you were wronged that day, or if I get
forget about it.
If I get I have a story for you, then I know. Oh, this is going to be good. Like,
I'm going to be pissed, and I'm going to tell the story.
Yeah, either you were wronged, you're pissed, or you saw something that was nuts and crazy, like the old man who got into the car accident, and you took his side over the owner of the car.
Oh side. Yeah, I remember. You know what's funny? I was thinking about that the other day. I wonder if they ever found out what happened. I doubt it. There's no way, right?
No, they probably didn't find out. The salad restaurant probably didn't find out. I mean, you've got a long line of people that are confused behind you.
Well, all I'll say is this. I am funny. And when something happens to me that's really fucked up, and I go, is this my life? I try to put a funny spin on it, if possible.
Yeah.
Even if it's a horrible thing. I try.
Of course. Because what's the alternative? To wallow in it? That's not healthy.
That's not me.
You're better off laughing at yourself. You might as well. Everybody else is, I mean, maybe not for you, but with me, it's usually the case.
Right.
Look at this. Donate to Star Legacy Foundation from 31-month member Bird.
Oh, Bird, I'm sorry.
Bird has been a proud supporter of this podcast for 31 months.
Bird. Bird's a word. Can we talk about how fucking hot it is?
It is a lot. Is everybody else across the world? Is Aussie Annie dealing with this? I'd like to know. Is Paul dealing with this? Is Lindarella? Is Robin? Are people in New York? It is disgusting. You must be miserable. You hate being hot.
Let me tell you something right now. That's why I still have my fucking summer clothes out. I did not change the wardrobe yet and switch it to fall winter because it's too hot. And let me tell you, if your wife wore anything but open, because I could see her wearing, what are those furry boots called? What are they called? If she wore boots today, I'll lose my mind.
Yeah, no, I don't know. They're Australian boots. What do they call those things?
What are they called? Uggs.
Uggs. Yeah, no, she hasn't worn Uggs, but she has been wearing hoodies. Yeah.
You know what I wore today? A sleeveless dress because, no. First of all, I don't know about in your school. For some reason, they turned the heat on last week. I guess they dipped up below a certain temperature overnight, it turns on.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody has had their air conditioners on in the school because that's how hot it is. And today was like a sauna. If you walked in certain parts of the hall, forget about it. And I said to one of the teachers, I was like, please God, I hope I'm working with you today because you keep your room cool and I'm friggin' hot. And she's like, I knew it. She goes, that's my girl.
Yeah, Christella's 70 degrees today in New England.
It was 70. I think it was 78 today for the high, right? Or 80.
Yeah, no, I think it hit 80 in New York.
And I have some news for you. On Halloween, it's going to be 75.
Holy shit. That's fucked up.
Isn't
All
it
those
weird?
kids in costumes that are going to be... My kid's got a King Kong costume. He's head to toe covered in fur. That's going to be miserable for him.
God.
He is going to be miserable. Paul says Utah had snow last night, last Thursday night, low 40. Then today, highs in the 70s. Lindarella says 77 right now. I forget where Lindarella is. I think she's close by. Oceani says 78.8 little circle. Is that degrees or is that Celsius? I have no idea.
Ooh.
Pretty standard for spring. Oh, that's right. It's spring over there. Forgot. Opposite side of the world. Everything is backwards. Lindarella's in California. Okay.
What part, I wonder? She's probably living the life that I want to live. Go ahead.
Cali's weird because LA could get disgustingly hot. San Diego seems to be like always perfect weather. But you go up north to like Monterey and above, the bay, north of the bay, it gets cold. It gets cold on the water too, especially. So California's got a lot of different things going on. But in New York, it's still summer and it's disgustingly hot because it shouldn't be this warm. And it still is right now, and it's driving allergies crazy. It's driving my allergies crazy.
Mm-hmm.
My daughter had a cheerleading thing yesterday, and there we were in this field,
sweating your ass off
because the sun is closer now than it is in the summertime.
Mm-hmm.
So it is just intensely just beating down on you, and there's no breeze, no nothing. It's like it's fucking awful.
Global warming.
Yeah, I know. It's going to be great for pool sales.
We're going to go back to that subject real quick.
Yeah.
You talked about me getting fired up and you like that, whatever. I'm sure in the next 2 to 1 week, next 2 weeks, me and Frank are going to have some words. What do you think? Prediction?
You going to throw it down? Why? Over what? Election?
Yeah, probably.
Oh, okay.
People are starting to go insane. You know that, right?
Yes. Yeah.
I followed a 170 comment thread on my friend's Facebook post. And you know how many times I started to write and then quickly backspaced. Started to write, quickly backspace.
Yeah, no, you can't get involved. You can't.
No.
Too much. I saw a thing the other day that I wanted to throw my phone against the wall. This kid, there's this young kid. He's on TikTok and he's like a political person. And I look at that and I go, boy, I'd love our youth to be involved, but there's nothing less intelligent about a political opinion than somebody that's 22 years of age having one.
Oh, yeah.
Because it's like you're new to the world. Like read more than take in more than what you put out because nothing yet. So this kid kid goes, Donald Trump had the gall to, stage a fake, I forgot what he called it, a fake campaign stop at McDonald's. He's like,
what?
He goes, he didn't actually work there. He goes, all the customers that came were like rehearsed and everything that he said was like, and I'm looking at this and I go, yeah, that's what a fucking campaign is. Like, what did you think he was going to do? Really work the fryer at the McDonald's for 2 hours? Is that what you thought was going to happen?
Right. Come on.
Did you think he was going to have his press corps come down and they were going to chance it to see who showed up? You think they were going to risk somebody screaming at him that he's an animal at the fucking drive-through window?
No.
in the middle of him trying to make himself look better and his opponent look like shit. Like, what the fuck is wrong with you? Like, of course it's a campaign stop. Of course it was all, rehearsed. But the way he was delivering it was like, I have to share this with you. This is pretty, scandalous. Right. Like, you got to do your, no, it's been on his campaign calendar. He's been talking about it for months. It's like, you're not breaking any ground. And then I go into the comments because I'm like, oh, he must be getting eaten alive. And everybody's like, I can't believe this. And I'm like, oh, you got to be fucking kidding me. Like, I can't take it from people anymore. It's like, what do you think? Like, what do you think happens in the world? Like, this is what a campaign stop is. I mean, just because JD Vance blew that whole donut shop thing couple months ago, and that was really awkward and stupid, doesn't mean that everybody just rolls into these places unannounced. Like, that doesn't happen.
Maybe.
It's a campaign. Like, is it fake or real? Like, I don't know. Lots weren't told it was fake, but do people really not know? Not that it's fake, but it's like they're going to line up his supporters, the people who are going to say nice things to him.
Mm-hmm.
He's going to find a McDonald's where the owner and everybody wants him there and is okay with him being there. And, I got news for you. They're not gonna let, Shelby or Diane or Tim, who have a problem with him, work the fryer next to him. They're getting the day off that day. You know what I mean? Like, they're not,
right.
It's all staged, but it's a campaign stop. It's all staged. Like, people know this, don't they? Because I'm starting to get the feeling that people don't know it, which is very scary to me, because their vote counts as much as mine and yours, which is that shouldn't be, Right. Like, if you don't know these things are staged. By the way, I mean, typically not Trump because he's an enigma, but usually a candidate will go to a place and give a speech. And then he'll go 2 states over and give the same exact speech.
Oh, really?
And then he'll continue, or she will continue and give the same. It's called a stump speech. It is the basic, like, that's not new to you, it's what they're made to do. By the way, I don't want to break anybody's heart here, but comedians aren't coming up with that stuff off the top of their head. That's rehearsed.
My heart.
They practice that ahead of, they know where the laughs are. They practice that. There's no accident there. They practice that ahead of the time. So, Thor doesn't really fly. That's done by computers. I don't know how else to help people. If you tell me when I'm starting to get insulty. But,
nope.
Yeah, I don't know. You really think you're going to fight? What is there? Are you mad at Frank?
No, I'm kidding. Okay. I don't think so. I mean, I hope not.
I feel like everybody's running out of steam with this election. I feel like everybody's like, Jesus, we're 2 weeks away. Let's get this the fuck over with already.
Yeah, I think everyone's like, okay, like, you know what it is? I just saw people fighting about abortion, and on both sides, it's so one-sided because, first of all, a lot of misinformation. That's number one. And number two, like, this girl could not understand. I'm going to say this quick and tell me if you
can take
agree
your time. What the fuck do I have to do? I got nowhere to go for the next.
That's true. This girl was trying to say that she is pro-choice unless it's late-term abortion.
Right.
And she explained herself saying, if it's late term and it endangers the baby or the mother, she understands. And she said, it's the fact that you can get a late term abortion. It's not the fact that people are doing it. But she just said, like, I'm sad that it's available for someone to say in their 8th month, hey, I don't want to be pregnant no more. And I get that. And I'm sure a lot of people feel that way. I'm sure a lot of people do feel that way.
Well, yeah.
But also, that doesn't happen. It doesn't happen. Like you can't just go and say, I want this done. It just, you can't have it done. Now anyway, but even before, it's just like people like were thinking. This woman was saying that people think you can just go to a doctor and say, I don't want to be pregnant anymore, and that's just not how it works.
Well, also the late term thing is such a rarity that the only time it really comes up is when they missed something,
Right.
and the quality of life it would not be worth, if they're going to wind up not making it, or if they discovered a complication in the mother's health, and
Right.
But
it doesn't really happen. Like, you're right, it doesn't
very
really
rare. Very
right.
rare. Yeah.
But she's saying, but then the woman she was fighting with was saying, I think if you want to have a late term abortion at 8 months, you should be able to. Which I'm like, and this, she couldn't understand why this woman thought it was wrong. And it's like, you don't have to understand that. This is how she feels, and that's it. So, and the girl doesn't have to understand how she feels either.
Yeah, well, I don't think anybody loves abortions.
No.
But nobody wants to have to go to prison in case they ever do need one.
Right. But needing one and wanting one is two different things. And I get that, because that's what this woman was saying. But the other woman couldn't understand why she thought that was wrong. And I was like, oh my God, 170 comments, and you still both are not seeing this. And I'm like, oh my God, how much time did they waste?
Yeah. Well, but so here's the other problem is how much of this is actually the reason why the abortion bans don't make sense in my eyes, you tell me if you disagree, is because you can't really enforce these things, because people come in and they go, well, there's exceptions for rape, incest, and whatever. Okay. So if I want an abortion, all I have to do is say I
know. That's where it gets, and you cannot leave it up to the person to be truthful. You just can't, because I don't trust anyone. So how can you decipher what is the truth and what is not the truth?
There's no way to do it.
So
that leaves you with it's some, like, even just on that argument, even though I feel like all of this is entirely up to a woman, right? So that, let's put that aside for a second, that if they need a medical procedure or want one, they should be able to get it. If it's right? It's just their basic right. I mean, if I want to get a vasectomy, I can. Nobody is restricting my right to do that whatsoever. Even though
you should get one on the air. Go ahead.
I would love to. Even though if you go by the Bible, that's not, there's only one reason to, for that, and it's to procreate, which is obviously not feasible. But on top of that, it's like you just can't enforce any of these things. Like, if you're going to allow exceptions, then you might as well just allow it all, because people are just going to make it up. So what are you doing? What are you doing anyway?
Well, that's the whole thing. That's where it's like, how can you prove that?
Yeah.
You can't prove it, but anyway.
No, and if a doctor says, hey, this is, listen, this is what's going on, there's going to be no quality of life with this baby, and it's 7 months. But again, rare, right? Because usually they catch a lot of those things early on. What are you going to do? You just, because you live in a certain state now, you have to, go through with that.
I will say that there are people who will go through with it, because they don't believe, not that they don't believe in abortion, they don't believe in deciding like making that choice. And I've spoken with women about it, like, all right, say if I knew that Diana was going to die before she actually did, right?
Mm-hmm.
Would I have made the decision to technically get an abortion? You know what I mean? Like, if I knew that she was going to, say I found out at 6 months she's not gonna make it,
right?
Would I have gone through with the rest of the pregnancy knowing that she wasn't?
It's an
Or would
interesting
I?
question. Do you think about that?
I do. I do.
Yeah.
Because it's like a hard thing. Because then again, they are wrong sometimes too, and sometimes they're like, "Oh, something's wrong with the baby," and the baby comes out, and the baby's normal.
Yeah.
So
I tend to, and obviously your perspective is or could be different here. I don't know if I could bring a baby into this world knowing that their existence is going to be brief and painful, and
right,
it's like, well, are they experiencing pain? Do we know? Like, how do we know? I don't know.
right,
I like to think that I would probably be on the side of let's try again, and we'll try and do this, with a healthy baby all the way through. I don't know if that necessarily. I don't know. I feel like in years past that was the right thing to do. Like,
right.
I don't know if I agree with it though. Again, unless I'm in that situation, it's kind of hard to say. But I feel like, again, when you're pregnant, all these things flow through your mind all the time, right? And these are the conversations you have, right? Like, honey, let me put us in, and you're just like, why are we doing this to ourselves?
Mm-hmm.
But if we're playing that game and Cuddles says that to me, I don't know. I probably would tend towards I wouldn't just be like, hey, Dr. A says that's it. So let's figure it out. Let's get it done. I'd probably go to 2 or 3 doctors and get all the opinions first. But if the unanimous decision was there's not going to be any quality of life here, and it's going to be a short, painful existence and miserable existence, I don't know if I would see it all the way through.
See, so no. What's funny is I know someone who is very, very pro-choice, and would not, and has said they would not do that to the baby. They would let it come out naturally and see what happens, which I know, because if you're that pro-choice, I don't know. This person is very, very pro-choice, but has said she would never get an abortion herself. But also, if there was something wrong with her baby and she knew beforehand, she would never be able to get an abortion. Technically, that's the technical term for it. So
yeah.
So I mean, technically, what happened to me, it was technically an abortion. On paper, it's an abortion.
I thought so. Okay. I want
Because
you to stay where you are at the address you're at right now. I'm just going to call the authorities.
Because it's technically abortion because of the medicine that I took.
Mr. Trump? Yeah. No, I got bad news. One of your supporters is doesn't share the same views as you, just to let you know. I'll text you the name later. Okay.
See, now when he talks, I feel like
killing yourself? Oh, no, sorry.
I feel like he kind of thinks the same way though, too.
No, listen, let's all be honest with each other. Donald Trump is a liberal at heart. He was raised a New York City liberal.
Right.
I can't imagine the amount of abortions that he has funded in his lifetime. It's got to be double digits, if not triple. And yeah, he never felt this way until he needed to win an election. And he's been pretty open and honest about that. Like, if you go back to the early days, in his answers, he's like, well, yeah, I'm running on the Republican ticket. I believe you need exceptions, but, this is, he kind of is openly like, I have to say this stuff to get elected, right. And now he goes the other way where he's like, you got to get elected. And most people aren't all the way that way. They're willing to go for exceptions. That's why he brings up Reagan all the time, because Reagan believed in the exceptions, and he feels like that's a way to kind of liberalize that old school,
right. To me, why is it even one of the issues that we fight about? Why? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, well, because both sides have taken such opposition on it, I guess it's become a constant campaign.
But why is it even a political thing? That's what I mean.
Because Christians who tend to be conservatives don't want abortion based off of their faith, and liberals who tend not to have religion not every liberal,
So you're a liberal. Go ahead.
feels like, it's not a first of all, it's not a religious thing. It's separation of church and state. And there's more extenuating circumstances,
It's true.
and some people are like, well, it's good that it's back with the states, and that's the stupidest thing. Like, you either have a right or you don't. Okay, there are different rights that exist. Some of them are inalienable. Some of them are guaranteed at birth. And what you do with your body should be one of those rights.
I mean, yes, I agree.
And I feel that way even more so because, again, even if I didn't feel that way, there's no way to legislate and punish and enforce if you're going to allow for exceptions.
I know. That's where it's a fine line.
So
right?
what are we even wasting our time for? And I mean, let's be honest, with the exception of a handful of states, every one of these states that a ban was proposed in, most of them fought back on that ban.
Right.
Even the crazy conservative Catholic Christian areas, they lost. So,
right.
I don't know why it's such a big deal. But again, and I was wrong about this. I didn't believe that they would do this. I didn't believe that anything that Trump did could outlast his own presidency. But I was wrong because he put 3 Supreme Court justices in the court, and they were the ones who solely decided to do this without any consent, without any polling numbers, without any, this is going to upset most of the country. They just decided to do this because this is what they felt. Nobody was questioning them. Nobody was pushing them. Usually people push them. Hey, we need a decision on this. Nobody asked for a decision on Roe v. Wade. Everybody was happy with this thing being just there, and it is what it is. And, we just keep moving on. And they were the ones who stirred this up by reversing the decision on that. So now you have a situation where people want it as a law. People want it as a federal law. They want it as a bill, so that their women's rights are protected.
Well, it's like you said, it's very, can't pick and choose. It's hard to pick and choose and see who's telling the truth, who's not telling the truth, and exceptions and all of that.
Yeah. But I mean, on this one, look, you're raising 2 daughters. I'm raising a daughter. Most people we know are raising a daughter. I'm far beyond the point of needing an abortion,
well, let's not go too far. Let's not.
True.
Yeah.
Problem is, I prefer like an ice cream sandwich to cheating on my wife. You know what I'm saying? Like, I could be just as satisfied with an ice cream sandwich versus doing all the work to have to sleep with somebody behind her back. But anyway, for those of us who aren't Dave Grohl, we're raising children, and God forbid, I hope nothing ever happens to them. But should something happen, and they feel that they don't want to carry an attacker's baby to term, I'm going to support them in that. And I don't want to live in a place where they're telling me that we can't do that.
Yeah, it's stupid.
Just don't want it. And the thing that Kamala Harris taught me something, one thing. But the thing that she said in an interview was the whole endangering the health of the mother. And she kind of, I forget what interview it was, and we talked about this, that she kind of laid it out of where you have to be on your deathbed in order to get that exception. And they did that to one of the girls, I forget, it was in Georgia or something, and then she wound up dying because her life
waited so long.
They waited too long. So they have to wait to the last possible moment, and then it's like, oh, you're dead. Sorry. Waited too long. Right. Waited a second too long. That's a preventable death.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, when I said the Star Legacy thing, I said, and was I misspeaking here? But most of these, or not most, but some of these could be prevented. Was Diana preventable if you had gone for some of those extra tests that now you boast about and talk about people needing to go to now, or no?
So yes, because the thing is, if you've had a stillbirth or 3 or more miscarriages, then you get tested for certain blood clotting genes or disorders. And if I would have if I excuse me, I do have 2 of them. If I would have known that I had, excuse me, what the hell?
That's
If I
okay.
would have, if I would have known that I had them, I would have been on blood thinners, which could have prevented the blood clots in my placenta.
Oh, so wait, so you had miscarriages that you didn't even know about?
No, I'm saying it in general. They only give you these tests if you've had 3 or more miscarriages or a stillbirth. And or a stillbirth. So basically, you only get tested if horrible things happen to you.
Right.
So if I would have gotten the whole thing, it comes down to insurance, which is really shitty.
Right.
That's the whole nother devil. But yes, it could have been. I do think it could have been prevented. And it was told to me because I was treated differently.
Right. But you said you had 2. What did you mean by that? 2 of the tests?
Oh, 2 tests. Yes, that's what I mean.
Okay, got it.
If I So they only test you for these if you've had a stillbirth or if you've had 3 or more miscarriages.
Right. Now, okay, let's take that as an example. Don't you? Now I hear this as somebody who's gone through 2 births, and I feel like the amount of fucking testing they rolled you through for all these things, sugar, blood pressure, fuck, they were taking my blood pressure for Christ's sake, right? It feels like we should have these additional tests on whether you've gone through these complications or not.
Exactly. I think everybody should have these tests done.
Right. And that's
The only-
basically become your battle cry, right? That's what you guys in Star Legacy are talking
Yep.
about.
That's what we're trying to do because a lot of these are preventable.
Right.
If you know that you have these certain disorders, you take certain medicines to prevent things
Right.
that don't make you lose your baby.
Well, and that's the other argument behind the abortion thing, because a lot of times the abortion, quote unquote, abortion clinics are actually women's health clinics, and you can get pap smears done there and exams and all sorts of other things.
Right.
And a lot of that, again, and if you find yourself in a position where, all right, you need some help, but it's now illegal, people are less likely to go get tests and screenings and all that kind of stuff if they feel like that, so there's a lot to that whole issue. But okay, I'm glad you clarified that, because I said it before, because I feel like I've heard you say it before, but also I'm in my 40s, so I can't really remember anything anymore. So
Well, I just say, like, I've talked to so many women who've gone through this, and we all say the same thing. They found out afterwards that they've had these things.
right.
And if they would have been treated properly with the right medication, whatever, then they feel like their babies would still be here.
Yeah, listen, I've only gone through this through friendship with you, okay? And it makes me want to punch an adorable goat in the face innocently, because it's enraging to know that these things could be preventable if we were just a better society, which is what drives me crazy a lot of times when you have talks with people about politics, because a lot of times that whole element of, well, can't we just be better?
Yeah.
Is gone. And it's like, shouldn't we be fighting for that?
Yep. It's true. And like what Lindarella said, healthcare is a scam. It is such a scam. And honestly, like, I've uncovered so much stuff in the past 7 years about how it works. It is insane. Really. I mean,
You've uncovered. You got your whole.
Jay Seb, the healthcare scare coming up on 7.
Yeah. No, but you've done a lot of work. Far too many other podcasts that I care for. To come to some of these conclusions, and I think it's interesting. But again, you hear these things, and you can't help but think, why can't we be better?
Yep.
This was my whole argument during universal healthcare. Universal healthcare this, universal healthcare that. Agree. Hard to pay for, right? Really tough thing to pull off. Would be nice to live in a country as wealthy as this one and make sure everybody's taken care of.
Yeah, no, it won't happen because of the healthcare companies.
Yeah, and they're the ones. But you have every Tom, Dick, and Harry out there arguing against it because of taxes and that, and they're literally just protecting people. I hate to sound like a dick here. You're literally I understand if you're in healthcare. If you're one of the people profiting from people and you want to be like, it's going to raise prices and okay, fine. But if you're a person who, even if you've got $1 million in the bank and then all of a sudden your wife or your mother has cancer or your father or you has cancer, that shit dries up very fast,
Right.
and if you don't have the right insurance, you're not going to get the right care that you need. People are dying because they didn't get the right job or they didn't try harder in school to get the better job and they deserve to die. Doesn't seem to make much sense to me.
No. And you know what? It's all over though. It's not just, well, I would say not just New York, but New York is one of the highest, obviously the highest ones for insurance. And it's just, God, there's just so much. There really, but like, even for like basic maternity care for the baby, you're only supposed to get 3 sonograms through your entire 40 weeks of pregnancy.
What? I went for one every week. And then my wife had to go for some. That's how crazy.
On your butthole?
I go, Doc, just shoot my asshole for a second because I don't know, something back there that's bothering the shit out of me.
So, okay, how are you supposed to see if everything is okay in there if you can't physically see in there?
Yeah.
And it's just you're giving it up to like luck, basically. Like, yeah, it's okay. Sometimes there's warning signs, sometimes there's not. If you can't see, like for me, I didn't have any amniotic fluid when I delivered. And that could be seen on a sonogram. You cannot know that otherwise if you don't have a sonogram. So if I would have had a sonogram because you don't have one between 20 and 36 weeks. That's a long time.
That is a long time.
And so like if you don't have well, it's just a lot. It's just I could go on and on, but there's just so many things that healthcare should be doing, like the basic guidelines, and they don't. They don't.
Yeah. Well, that's why it's exciting to see what Mark Cuban is doing. Like Mark Cuban started that pharmaceutical company just to sell drugs for way cheaper than the other drug companies sell them for.
Yep. And he's 100% right. He should do that.
And he's disrupting the fucking industry. Listen, I understand that there is an argument to be made that drug companies need to charge X amount. They do charge Americans more for the same drugs that they sell to other countries for far less. There is such a thing as research and development. There is such a part of this that we need to fund science so that they can figure out better ways for all the drugs.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm down for a markup. I'm down to pay the scientists. I'm down to pay for the failed experiments. There's got to be a markup there. But the markup that they have right now is literally just going into the pockets of executives and owners of these insurance companies. And it's gotten out of control. It's just fucking out of control. And when you go listen to Bernie Sanders, as much of a crazy liberal as you think he is, but he matches this country up against other countries that have healthcare that's non-profitable, that's non-profit healthcare. And when you look at how much more we're paying, it is directly correlated to the profits of the insurance companies.
Mm-hmm.
So the more that we're paying for our exquisite healthcare is just purely going to profit and makes no difference from other countries that have 100% universal healthcare.
It's right.
And those are just facts,
It's funny because when I used to, I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, good. You worked for a doctor's office.
I did. I was going to say, when I worked for the company that we had another office in Monaco, this one guy could not get over that we had to pay for health insurance. He could not go past it. Like he couldn't compute it.
Yeah.
He's like, what do you mean? You pay for health insurance? Yeah, but then you also have bills. And he's like, what? Like, yeah, you pay and then you still have bills. And he's like, why? I'm like, exactly. And he's like, you're the richest country. How does he goes, well, this is why you're the richest country. He goes, because these healthcare people are owning it, are running it. And he's like, I remember he would come back and go, wait, how much you pay for health insurance? And how much do you have to pay more? Why do you have to pay more? I said, I don't know.
Yeah.
They don't know.
And then could you imagine being at a point where you're like, hey, this is what it's going to cost to do the cancer surgery. Your insurance doesn't cover. What do you do then?
Right.
Just go, hey, you know what? Let's let Aunt Agnes die. It's just, I'd love to help you out, Aunt Agnes, but it's going to put us really behind the 8 ball. So I guess we'll just let you die.
That's it. Well, I know we were in the same boat. Me and you, we both paid an exorbitant amount for our health insurance per month because we have families.
Yeah.
And now I switched to a high deductible, and now I really see how crazy it is too. But
I just got rid of my family. Maybe you should have gone that way.
I was going to say, maybe I should just get rid of them.
Yeah, they seem to be the problem.
Well, how about this? And this is a thing, and I'm sure people in the comments will know this too. People will get divorced on paper so they don't have to pay so much money for health insurance.
Yeah.
Which is crazy.
I'm thinking about doing that.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, because I'm like, yeah.
Not just for the health insurance, though, just because, right.
Honey, let's do it on paper for the health insurance and then just get out of here.
But we're divorced. Right.
Yeah. Be like, those aren't my kids anymore. Those are her kids now. I divorced her and those kids.
Right.
Yeah. This has been a fun discussion on the scams of healthcare. Thank you, Jason.
Now you got me fired up.
Sorry, I don't want to get you fired up. Here's something that'll cool you down. Elon Musk. It's illegal to offer people money to vote, right?
I thought you couldn't buy them a water if they're waiting online.
Pretty correct. In some states, that's pretty much true. Elon announced that he's going to be giving away $1 million each day to registered voters in battleground states who sign up for his petition. So he's skirting the line here, and I don't know if he's going to get away with this. Because we do have election law, but he's setting up campaign stops for Donald Trump, obviously, and he's campaigning for him, and he's got sign up for, to register to vote, nothing illegal there. But he's also created this petition to support the First and Second Amendment, because people are going to be like, what's the petition? So, here's the petition. You sign a petition saying, I support the First and Second Amendment. Not really much to that, right?
Right.
Kind of feels like we all support those amendments, whether we want gun control or not, whether we want people to stop saying stupid shit or not. We're all pretty big fans of the First and Second Amendments, right?
Right.
So he's got a petition for people to sign to support that, and he's going to give $1 million a day to the people who sign the petition. So I get what he's doing, not giving away $1 million to the people who register to vote. You got to register to vote, and then also sign this petition, and then he's going to randomly give away a couple $1 million each day from now up into the election. So some people are up in arms over this. He's spending a lot of money on this election.
I can't imagine what Frank would say.
Frank would be pissed. I mean, he's got every right to. Yes, it would be nice if he spent that money feeding, homeless people. Sure, we'd all love that, but it's Elon Musk. That's not really much on his radar.
Right.
Oh, you know what we haven't talked about?
What?
The tunnels in Los Angeles and California and Los Angeles. Have you?
No, I have to go look at this when I drop out in 2 minutes. Go ahead.
Okay. This is something that we should not be bringing up at this point in this podcast, but I saw a TikTok the other day that again made me want to throw my phone through the wall because I don't know if this is a joke or not, because now I'm seeing other stuff and I feel like these are jokes. I feel like this is somebody just creating an elaborate scam. But there was this TikTok that was going super viral, and it's these two guys on a podcast. Of course, it's always two dicks on a podcast. And the one guy goes, "Your NDA is up, right? You know, your non-disclosure agreement." And he's like, "Yeah." He's like, "That's why I'm talking about this." He's like, "Okay." He's like, "Well, tell us."
Oh wait, I did see this. Go ahead.
You saw this
with the Starbucks.
And the one guy goes, "Yeah." He goes, "There's tunnels all underground in Los Angeles," and that's why he goes, "Do you ever see Will Smith in traffic?" He's like, "No." He's like, "There's underground tunnels everywhere, and there's Starbucks down there, and that's how they get their coffee, and that's how they zip around from one thing to the next." And I'm like, I cannot believe this is.
This is true. I believe this, actually.
Will you go away, please?
I knew you were going to say that, but honestly, look into it. Go down the hole.
Okay, I did. So I've been seeing other people, and they're like, here's an entryway. And listen, there are underground. It's a city. There's access points underground. And here was the funniest part about that video, though. He goes, how much do they pay? He goes, they don't pay. Okay, so if I'm to understand you correctly, the conspiracy theory here is Starbucks is building underground Starbucks to give away free Starbucks to celebrities so they don't have to wait in line with the normal people at the normal Starbucks.
I mean, yeah.
What?
Why? Yeah, I know.
Why is this happening? Again, I would love to have been in the boardroom that day when it's like, everybody, we're going to put a new Starbucks in LA, but we already have 4,000 of them. Yep, this one is going to be underground, though. That sounds expensive. It's going to be even more expensive when you find out we're not going to be charging anybody. Well, who's anybody? The 75 to 100 celebrities that are going to come by. Only celebrities. We're going to, because how else are they going to eat the children if they're not well caffeinated, right? Is that the theory? I just don't understand.
Yes.
What's happening. And the way that these guys presented this podcast makes me want to
shoot yourself.
Yes.
Catch your penis into a car door.
I would have had more fun doing that than actually listening to them speak. Yes.
I mean, I believe it. Makes me want to go there.
And now my feed is covered with people that are like, okay, here we are on the corner of blah, 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 and blah, blah, blah. And we're going to go down this tunnel. And so I saw people, and there was some people that were like, we found a tunnel. And so they went down the tunnel, and it was like a, access point to some fucking sewer thing or whatever. And there's a stair. There was like a spiral staircase. You're like, there's a spiral staircase. And I'm like, okay, where the spiral stair? Where does it go? But none of this is proving anything to me.
Right.
I don't get it. What I love about the conspiracy theories of today is they no longer have to be full-fledged conspiracy theories. They just have to be little tiny snippets of what a conspiracy theory would be. And that's good enough.
I mean, yeah, but it makes me want to go look and see.
I know that, but it used to be, this is what's happening. The government is screwing us. Okay, I can get behind that. What are they doing now? What are those crazy government people doing today?
They're building Starbucks so that other people don't have to wait.
So none of this. That's why I'm like, this has to be a gimmick. This has to be a bit. Because there's, and even as a bit, I have a big problem with it. I mean, they're not setting it up the right way. It's too jolly. None of it makes any sense. Right. Here's the guy. This is for everybody who didn't get to hear it. Thanks to Patriotic Bulldog on TikTok for putting this out there. I don't even know we don't even know what the podcast is, although the tag on the thing here is comedian Steven. And so this has got to be a bit. All right, here's the.
I don't believe it.
Expired, and you could talk about this. You used to work at a secret Starbucks. Is that right?
Yeah, there is a Starbucks that is like above reserve, like a Starbucks no one's ever heard of or been to.
All right. Have you ever wondered while driving in Los Angeles, how come you've never seen like Will Smith stuck in traffic on 405?
Yeah.
I've never
Yeah,
seen a
that's right.
1%er just in their car stuck in traffic.
Why is that?
That's because there's a series of intricate tunnels underneath Los Angeles known as the actor bond. I'm not kidding. Like, they get access points to move through the city without ever having to be in traffic. You can come up in LAX, you can pop up at Dodger Stadium. Underneath there in those tunnels,
This guy's face.
is Starbucks set up at different locations to allow them to get coffees while they're driving. All
Who's
of that
them?
stuff. Seinfeld,
You've seen
Oprah,
Seinfeld down there?
Bono. I've seen Seinfeld down there. Dude, almond milk latte, 2 shots.
Wow.
That's all right. Clearly, this is a bit because the original tag here is for comedian Stephen Randolph. So, Stephen Randolph, congratulations. That's a hilarious bit. But like I said, I now have people on my feed that are like, well, okay, we're here at the fucking tunnel entrance. And I'm like, are you carrying the bit? Because if you're carrying the bit, I kind of get it. But if you're very serious about it, I got a big problem with this. But what's weird about our current era of the world is even these things that would start off as jokes become serious. The Proud Boys kind of started off as a bit, and then all of a sudden they became this whole big crazy thing. Like, I think even the bits are being stretched into a reality. It's fucking crazy. Anyway, I don't know what Elon is doing or if he's going to get in trouble for this. Seems shady. I don't know if he found a loophole for it, but hey, listen, if a bunch of people are going to get $1 million for doing practically nothing, let God be with you. Good for you. You know, you deserve it. I saw the first lady that went up there and won the thing, and she was thrilled, and I'm sure it'll change her life, you know, so good for her. Again, it seems a little crazy and shady to me, but, you know, what are you going to do? I can't wait for this election season to be over, though, because I'm getting bombarded by both sides. Let me give you I get hit up every day for $3 from Kamala Harris. I don't know why Kamala Harris is. One day she asked for $8. I sent a message back. I'm like, are you okay? Because you never ask for more than $5. You're always talking about how you just need $5. Just give me $3 and we'll defeat Donald Trump. You know, that's basically all right. Here, let me give you. I'm going to go through my inbox because, by the way, thanks to everybody out there who has the show email. Thanks for signing me up for all these things because somebody did it. Harris Waltz organizing team. We've got 15 days to secure a win. Truth Social. Trump media announces release of Truth streaming app now available for iPhones. Great. Tim Walz. Call from Kamala Harris? ? Harris Walz, your $47 will allow us to reach undecided voters. That's a lot. 47 is the most. Blew my $8 out of the bit there. Kamala HQ, will you please pitch in? What happened today that she needs $47 today? That seems like a high amount. Barack Obama, with 15 days left to go, I'm counting on you. This is all from today. Every bit of this is from today. Every day I get a Harris Waltz. Kamala Harris, can I call you? Is that what Tim Waltz was asking me about? That was yesterday. I don't want to. I'm happy to vote for one of you people. I don't need a phone call. I just don't need a phone call. Doug Emhoff. Let's surprise Kamala today. With what? If I click on this, I'm sure it'll be a donation. If you can please link the yeah. Let's surprise Kamala today and donate. Yeah. No. Oh, good. My favorite, though, comes from Trump, which is not surprising. I like crazy people and people who say crazy, stupid shit. I got a text message, 2 of them, in fact, from Donald Trump, or the Trump campaign, which says, Anthony, congrats, ? I'm shipping you a gold MAGA hat. Should I sign it? ? Confirm order with a link that I refuse to click because I don't want that ad following me across Instagram and TikTok and everywhere. I'm gonna lift up my toilet seat and see a reflection of do you want the gold hat now in my toilet next? These fucking marketer people don't know what to come up with. Do I want a gold MAGA hat and should you sign it? I can't imagine. Like Janine said, I'd rather get my testicles caught in, you name it, whatever. Car door, zipper, shark's mouth. That is more pleasurable to me. That is a process I'd rather go to than clicking this link to confirm a gold MAGA hat that is autographed by Donald Trump. I can't tell you how far from that being anything I would ever want. Ever. The one I just got is Elon will match every dollar this text raises. Okay. I have a McGift for Anthony. It's President Trump. Want to take a look? View gift. Click here. Can't do it. Can't risk doing it. Donald Trump texted me when he left McDonald's. I just left McDonald's. That was fun. Here are some photos. No, thanks. I'm good. I'm sure I'll come across them as I did endlessly on my Instagram. And I said to I mansplained to my wife, I'm like, that was staged. Yeah, he didn't work. He didn't clock in at 9 and clock out at 5. He was just there for 20 minutes. No shit. And there's been tunnels in Los Angeles for many years. They are currently chained up and no entrance. They show them in some old Hollywood movies. Yeah, I don't doubt that there is tunnels. Do I think people are using them for evil? Do I think people are using them to provide Starbucks to celebrities? No, definitely not. I'm more sure about that than the fact that I don't want a gold MAGA hat autographed by Donald Trump. God help the person who's like, can we put this lawn sign on your lawn? Because they will get a fierce talking to. The last thing I want is a fucking lawn sign on my lawn announcing what my political affiliation is. I don't want anybody out there knowing. I don't want people fucking asking me, what is it, a conversation starter? Oh, I see you're voting for so-and-so. Can I change your mind? No, I'm good. I don't want to hear your bullshit. Fine with that. Or even worse, oh, I see you're voting for so-and-so. I'm so glad you're on our team. I don't want to be on your team. I don't even want to be your fucking neighbor. You drive me crazy. You're out there fucking, watering the pavement at fucking 6 o'clock in the morning while I'm trying to sleep. I don't want you in my life. I don't want to connect over our political affiliation. I don't want to do it. I don't. That's the last thing I want to be doing. Would you like to talk about all the things we see eye to eye on? No, I wouldn't. No, I wouldn't at all. Not one bit. Not even close. Not even close. What's funny is the Boring Company was supposed to dig tunnels and only got one done from what I could tell. People just pop up out of the street with their Starbucks. Do they? Because I feel like in this era of security cameras and cell phones, we probably would have captured that. I don't think you're going to see anything, Do we need access tunnels to subways and water pipes and, things of that nature underground? Yeah, we do. Are there some of those that exist in Los Angeles? Yep. I've seen the things. They're there. Can't deny those. They go underground. They do. Doesn't mean, and I don't even know what, you have to allege something in a conspiracy theory. You got to finish it. You have to make it, there has to be a theory, right? I get the conspiracy part. There's tunnels down there. We don't know what they're using them for. Well, then tell me in the theory part of this, because if not, it's just a conspiracy. A conspiracy theory has a thing, Only tunnels are under Diddy's mansions. Yeah. There's tunnels under the White House. Shit, let me tell you something. You go to Toronto, there are highly guarded tunnels. There are tunnels everywhere because it's cold as shit in Toronto. And they thought, oh, we could build tunnels underground so we don't have to freeze our fucking noses off. And when we just try and walk 3 blocks in January. So they got a whole thing going on down there. That's great. It's good for them. We have to talk about this Royal Caribbean guy really quickly, and then we're out of here. A Royal Caribbean crew member filmed nearly 1,000 passengers in bathrooms using hidden cameras hidden under their beds in a new lawsuit. One passenger has launched a new class action lawsuit against the company and its former crew member after as many as 960 people may have been victims of a hidden camera in a bathroom on board. The lawsuit was filed on behalf of Symphony of the Seas passenger Jane Doe and all the similar situated passengers in the Southern District of Florida on Tuesday. Its filing comes nearly a month after employee Arvin Joseph Mirasol of the Philippines pled guilty to producing child pornography and was sentenced to 30 years in federal prison. A guest on board the ship discovered a hidden camera affixed to the counter under the sink in their bathroom on February 25th and reported it to ship security. Marisol, a stateroom attendant, was detained until the cruise ship docked at Port Everglades in Fort Lauderdale. Law enforcement found numerous videos of children between the ages of 2 and 17 in various states of dress on his electronic devices, according to the office, but Marisol's surveillance wasn't limited to children. Upon information and belief, Marisol transmitted and or uploaded images of the plaintiff while undressed and engaging in private activities to third parties and or to the World Wide Web, including but not limited to the dark web, without the plaintiff's prior knowledge or consent, the complaint states. Marisol allegedly hid under passengers' beds to spy on them and film them while they showered. I don't know how he filmed them from the bed while they showered. I get from under the counter. But you're definitely going to get people coming out of the shower. The lawsuit alleges that the Royal Caribbean should have known sexual assaults were reasonably foreseeable considering the prevalence of sexual assaults about RCCL's cruise ships, and that the company should have warned guests and properly trained staff. So I guess there's more to this than just the camera, but the whole thing fascinated me. Essentially, right? See, Paul's crazy, twisted mind went exactly where mine did. There is footage of Frank out there somewhere, worse than when he did the Nicki Minaj thing, because the Royal Cup cruise. Because Frankie has definitely been on like every cruise ship, and by the way, as far as not actually physically touching somebody, this is kind of one of the worst things you could do to a person. Because I don't know about you, but when I get out of the shower, I like to get my foot up on the thing, right? Give it the old Flossaruski, and nobody should have to see that ever. Like I don't know if you believe in inanimate objects living, but I feel bad that like the corner of my bed, my nightstand, my high school hockey trophy, which is still in my bedroom for some reason. My wife deals with that. Has to see any of that. That's terrible. At least for those people who were filmed, the women, the children, there has to be some solace. Not all. Lawsuits, definitely a way to go. But there has to be some solace that there are people that look like me that wound up on this footage too. That had to crush that guy's spirits that day. He's sitting down looking for a chick or whatever he's looking for. And then suddenly your old pal Aunt comes walking in and you got a full-on taint view as I try and do the whole, dry the old taint section. That's got to be tough for anybody to see. So hopefully this piece of shit saw a lot of that. Because I don't know if you know this, but a lot of people are attracted to that buffet on those cruises. Those are not necessarily in shape people. So I hope he caught a fair amount of bad views. That's my only hope. But for me, like this feels like a worst nightmare. Like I definitely, you talk about some of the things that are my things I'm paranoid about. Is this whole, when I go into a hotel, I am the guy who does look, not that I do it right away as soon as we walk in, but usually during a hotel stay, there is that moment where I'm in the bathroom and I'm like looking at that vent going, is there a blinking light in there? Is that a fucking, what is that? Is that a fucking thing? I definitely I've just seen too many stories where they're sticking fucking cameras in there. And that feels very, very wrong. Very wrong. Check headboards. Now you're just trying to kill me, Paul. Are you serious about that, or are you just trying to trip the paranoia a bit more? Because there was one time where I looked and I was like, there was definitely a light in this thing, but it was like it was part of like the humidifier, not the dehumidifier, the intake there, so that the room doesn't get so. I think that's what it was. I didn't see a camera lens, but I don't like it when there's lights in there. I don't care for any of that. I really don't care for any of that. makes me very, very nervous. Makes me very nervous. Frank the Tank is right. That guy is a fucking tripod. I've never seen his wife walk correctly. She had a limp. I go, volleyball injury? She goes, no, your friend. It's terrible. It's terrible what that RNC has to go through. But we don't like talking about that too much publicly. Final topic. The Boss. New Bruce Springsteen doc. I'm really excited about this. I feel like we might have talked about this a while ago. I was definitely excited about it a while ago when I first heard about it, and then I forgot about it. And now it's coming out on Friday, which is like the best thing you could think of. Because when you have to when you're constantly in anticipation or waiting for something, that's kind of miserable. When you forget about it and it's like, oh, it's here Friday. Then it's like, shit, yeah. On Hulu and Disney Plus, it's called Road Diary, Bruce Springsteen and the E Street Band. What I like about it is it's a recount. It's behind the scenes footage. It's pre-show footage of Bruce and the E Street Band. The filmmaker, Tom Zimney, who spells his name Thom. Don't really care for that. Tom was invited by Springsteen. He said back in 2023, I'm getting the band back together. You should stop by. Zimney showed up with his film crew and just started shooting Bruce and the E Street Band, which he never really kind of gives that access. I guess he's 75. He feels like, fuck it, might as well show everybody now. But Zimney followed the E Street Band from Red Bank to production rehearsals in Trenton, New Jersey, and arenas and stadiums all across the globe, capturing intimate backstage moments, thrilling live performances, revealing interviews with every single member of the 17-piece E Street Band. That is a lot to get to. 17-piece. I can't believe there's 17 people in the E Street. You got to figure on any given tour, at least once, one of those people gets left behind the bus by accident. You can't keep track of all seven. I mean, I'm not saying Bruce or Patty get left behind or a little Steve Van Zandt, but maybe Nils Lofgren. I could see him. You know, what's his name? The drummer there. Fuck, I can't remember his name. I should have went for it if I didn't know the name. I could see him getting, just talking to people, getting lost in the mix, that kind of thing. Yeah, I could see that. I could see that kind of thing happening. But how, I'm just kind of fired up for that. Like, oh, you followed Max Weinberg. Thank you. Like, you followed the fucking band, like, to see them in those intimate moments. Again, I will say that's one thing that I've been super lucky on in my life. I've gotten a chance to see a lot of artists in those intimate moments. And it's cool as shit to see. It's cool as shit to see who's stoic and calm and just sitting there, and who's, rocking out to other music, who's jumping up and down, It's just awesome. It's awesome to see. Let me tell you something. If you ever have a chance to go to a sound check, or get one of those VIP package. I would say this to the VIP packages where you meet people. It's kind of sucks. It's like forced and whatever. But if anybody ever can sneak you in and you can get backstage, unless it's Diddy, let's all be careful and responsible. Take it. Take it, because it's fun as shit. It's great to see these people and how they interact with one another and how they prepare and what they do with their day. I mean, it's kind of a crazy, miserable life. I've talked about that a lot, but it's an interesting life, to say the least. And especially with Bruce, who's been doing this since he was a teenager, and now he's 75. I'm very, very excited for this. So very excited for the new doc on Bruce, Road Diary, Bruce Springsteen and the E Street Band. Premieres October 25th on Hulu and Disney. That should be awesome. Quickly, just some thoughts on the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame as we wrap up the podcast here. And if anybody has anything else they want to talk about fast, throw it out in the topics. I love the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. I watched every moment of it. Lifelong Dave Matthews Band fan. So I was going to be in. I didn't want any spoiler alerts. I know people. I wanted to know the schedule because I wanted to just watch them. But I'm so glad I didn't because I had to watch everything. Everybody was fucking great at the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. I know it's easy to make fun of, and I know people love to say it's not rock and roll if it's hip hop and it's jazz and it's all that. It's the Music Hall of Fame, but it's fun to call it rock and roll. Let's get past it. And I have a lot of problems with them. That being said, and the production was missing at times, but that being said, what a great show. You know, it really was an amazing show, starting with Cher, which, dear Lord, I mean, what a way to kick off a show to have Cher just go out there and just fucking light a room up. Then they got Dua Lipa performing with Cher. So to see them two together, you're kind of like, holy shit, Dua Lipa is the new Cher. You know, like you see Dua Lipa and you're like, oh, she's talented. She sings, the choreographed dance. Obviously, she's beautiful. What is she going to do next? And then you literally see her next to Cher and you're like, oh, she could do everything Cher did and maybe even more over the course of her career because Cher laid the groundwork, before her. Those two together were unbelievably great. It was such a joy to watch those two together. I really love that. That was a ton of fun. Kool and the Gang got inducted, and let me tell you something. Like I put this out on all our socials. They were an amazing time. Like they were so good. Just you watch that and you go hit after hit, not just hit, but just like iconic tracks. And there's some of the original members out there still doing it. You're like, Jesus, how did this band not get in any sooner? I think it was A Tribe Called Quest after that, maybe, who went in. That was wonderful and enlightening. Again, I watch A Tribe Called Quest and I can just remember not even watching those music videos on MTV, although some of them did make it there eventually. But like in New York, there would be like public access shows and people would just buy time and play videos. And there were certain ones and you would just see like all this underground hip hop and all this crazy stuff. And I remember, and it wasn't underground at the time, but I remember seeing A Tribe Called Quest on these things. I remember the first time I ever saw Busta Rhymes. All those incredible songs. It was so cool to see. It was so amazing to see Queens in that early 90s era. Just unbelievable. The Ozzy tribute was amazing. Jelly Roll was in there. They had Maynard James in there, which was great. Ozzy, we got to see him as well. Peter Frampton was killer. He was up there with the fucking country guy. That was a nice little performance that Peter Frampton did. Obviously, Peter Frampton's not in the greatest health, so he sat, but sounded amazing, start to finish, killer. Foreigner was so good. You know who really stole the show from me? Fucking Kelly Clarkson. Kelly Clarkson. Her and watching her and Lou just fucking trade licks on, just these classic tunes that we all grew up with. Fucking amazing. Lou Gramm still sounds pretty good. Who else? Mary J. I thought was good. Kind of a low point for me. I respect the hell out of her. Just was kind of like, okay. And then we got Dave Matthews, and I was thrilled, absolutely thrilled to see that Dave Matthews closed the night out. He did a tribute earlier in the night to Jimmy Buffett. There were other tributes to the MC5. The Dionne Warwick tribute was so sweet. Dionne Warwick has got a biopic coming out, and the actress that plays her got to induct her. And I see this girl come out, and I go, "Is this her daughter? What's happening here?" She looks exactly like her. And no, it was just an actress who's playing her in an upcoming film. It was unbelievable. I'm like, this film's going to be great. She looks exactly like her. It's crazy because Dionne has such a unique look. She's just such a unique talent. But she was great. Susan DePass getting the Ahmet Ertegun Award for all her work at Motown was awesome to see. But yeah, Dave did a tribute to Jimmy Buffett, which I loved. James Taylor did a tribute to Jimmy Buffett that was fucking killer. And then Dave came in and, closed the whole night out, and it was just unbelievable. And then did all his stuff, got inducted, did the thank yous, and then shot back and did Talking Heads to end the evening. And I just thought this was the most perfect thing ever. It was a little weird to hear Dave edit down his own songs to make them all fit and work. By the way, the whole thing was 5.5 hours. I watched the whole thing. And thought I should be getting health insurance for this. There should have been a lunch break, food of some sorts. I should have been able to go out and get a cigarette. Felt like work for a little while there, but it was so pleasurable. It was so enjoyable. Highlights for me: Frampton, Foreigner, Kool and the Gang right up there, and then just above that was Dave Matthews, because they were on it. They sounded great. I'm not going to do every track that you want to hear as a Dave fan in that little time frame, but we got it. I think every Dave fan felt like they were a part of that group going into the hall at that moment. And it was really cool to see. And it was great to see the excitement on their faces. Those things, people, it's so great to go, fuck the Hall of Fame, I don't need that bullshit. But then when you see those artists get there and they look around and you see the other people that they're with fucking Kool and the Gang, they're with Foreigner, you see them become kids again. And you see it come to their face and go, this is really cool. I'm glad we've experienced this. And it was interesting because the story for Dave is, he's a bartender, and he was writing music, and they encouraged him to go out to the people in the community that he loved. And so he approached Carter, the drummer, and Leroy, the saxophone player. And that's how the whole band got together. But what was cool about Dave being inducted is he not only brought the owner of Miller's, the place that he bartended at, to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame induction ceremony. But after they started making music together and started playing, his other friend of his was like, why don't you come play Tuesday night at this place, because it's dead. You're not bartending, it's dead. Come play. And that Tuesday night slot at I forget the name of the place, but that turned into a regular night at a bigger club in town that basically funded them for the whole week. So they would go and play this place on Tuesday, make a bunch of money from the people in the Virginia area where they were, and then they would go and do a tour. And so they could lose money. They can go play an empty frat house and whatever, because they were flush for the week. Then they go back to Charlottesville, Virginia, play the place again, more money, go shoot off to a different place. So that's basically what carried the band and started the band. So those first 2 bars and the 1 club, he had all the owners of those places at the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Not that was pretty sweet and pretty cool, because he realized we're not here if not for the generosity of those people back in the day, and when you start to look at your favorite bands and all the things that had to come together to get them to make music for more than 25 years to become eligible and then get inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, it's an endless amount of things that needed to fall into place. And then to be there to celebrate with all the people responsible for those things, how does that not put a smile on your face? How does that not make you smile? So hearing that was kind of awesome to hear, that he acknowledged those people, for being the reason why he's in the Hall of Fame. I just thought that was wonderful. Yep.
Mom's a dumb bitch.
Exactly. All right. That's Bailyn Dupree. She's got the winded up shirt, which I love. I think that's in her TikTok shop or whatever. I don't know where the hell it is. You guys can find it. You can find our merch over at anthonyonair.com. We've got some fun little designs up there, including a political design that says, I don't care who you're voting for. I stand by that. I ordered one of those shirts, by the way. We made the shirt, and then I'm like, I'm gonna order. I want to buy one of these for sure. I bought my own shirt. That shirt and so many more are up for sale right now. You can click the link in the description of this episode to get to the shop, or just go to anthonyonair.com and find the item that speaks to you. That's how you make that work. Again, any bit of merch that you purchase helps us put on the podcast all year long. So we appreciate anything you do there. Whether you're purchasing merch, you're joining our members only area, or of course this month if you're donating to the Star Legacy Foundation, we certainly appreciate that more than anything. Wishing you all the bestest Tuesday and Wednesday. We'll be back with you Wednesday evening right here on the old channel Rooski.
Show me potato salad.
Bye, everybody. Election's almost over.
Maybe we should go now.
The election's
Go
almost
ahead.
over. We'll make it. We'll do it. We could do it. Hang in there.